I'll start it off. Okay, so I was at the panel. You're funny.
Thank you.
As far as the Steven universe, because I'm a little behind. I just got on the bandwagon not too long ago. But as far as the
so do you know he's a magical boy yet?
Yeah, with the jewel.
Oh yeah. Okay, you're on it.
Okay.
All right, cool.
So the social impact for his Steven universe, the whole not just the story, but how it had an effect on the fandom and all that jazz. Like, how do you feel about that?
How do I feel about it? Well, one, I'm so proud and grateful to be involved with this show. I mean, you know, voice actors are just a small part of the team that contributes to it, and I feel so, I'm consistently like thanking Rebecca, because Rebecca Sugar, the creator of the show, because her, not only is it a beautiful story and it's so funny and poignant, but has she, like you mentioned, has she reached so many different people and given voice to so many communities that I think maybe in the past felt marginalized or couldn't see themselves represented on screen. And so one, I just am so proud of that and also very grateful. The second part is I'm really, like, I hope this doesn't sound patronizing, but I'm really impressed. I never, this is, the response that this show has had is not something that you ever expect. It's something certainly that you hope for, but I could never have predicted that it would have such a wide reach, and not just domestically, but internationally too. I mean, and that's the beauty of the interwebs, is that we hear from people all over, from kids to adults to even grandparents from all over the world whose lives have been impacted by the show. So, great question, thank you.
What made you first take an interest in acting?
I think, I've always loved to make people laugh and kind of entertain since I was younger. And then not until after college did I start to really actively pursue acting. I did like community theater, but I think a lot of it has to do with being adopted and being in a transracial family. So I'm the only Korean person in my family. The rest of my family is super white. And so I don't know, I just felt like I was always like a little special, and I would like throw a little jazz on like every joke that I don't know. I think just being like sticking out is something that might have made me feel really insecure. And I mean, it did, but the way I coped with it, I guess, was to kind of perform, and I used humor as maybe a defense mechanism or just a way to kind of disarm people who weren't used to maybe, an Asian face. So I guess I have that in common with Amethyst, using humor sometimes as a defense or a weapon. Yeah.
What drew you to the script? What drew you to the show?
I mean, everything about it. I'm absolutely in love with the characters. Everything from the art to the music to the story to how Rebecca and the Crewniverse has tackled so many important issues like consent, relationships, loss, different struggles, self-worth, body image, etc. And it's not like she's hitting audiences over the head with that. It seems to be like really seamlessly integrated into the show. But I wasn't actually drawn to the project. I was given an audition, and you just read for a bunch of characters. I think I read for some of the other gems and Steven and Sadie. And I remember the role of Amethyst definitely felt the most natural to me. So, being able to tap in that easily to a character is certainly attractive.
Yeah. When did you know what the phenomenon of Steven Universe? Like, what clued you into how big it was?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think for a while I felt a very strong enthusiasm for the show on Twitter from a very small community, but like of just real ardent supporters of the show and its messaging. And then I guess I didn't realize how big it was until a few years ago. I was over Memorial Day, I was at the Grand Canyon hiking, and this guy was wearing a Steven Universe shirt, and I was like, oh, what's up, nice shirt. And I didn't even, like, I'm not gonna say who I am because that's lame. So I was just like, oh, I love that show. And he's like, yeah, it's a great show. And then we took a picture at the Grand Canyon together, and then I walked off. I don't know, I was just like, man, I'm like seeing like SU merch in the wild. That was amazing. I think that was a big, marker for me. Like, oh, it's really people who like to hike and marvel at Earth's wonders also like Steven Universe. I don't know. Yeah, but also I think, and then there was a next phase of popularity, I guess, when I think it seemed like the show was taking more, I don't know, I guess people might deem them as risks, but certainly, portraying things that maybe haven't been seen on TV before, like the marriage between Ruby and Sapphire, and or not in TV, but for animated, children's kind of targeted television. So, yeah, I mean, then I feel like Rebecca was being recognized by GLAAD, and she just won a Peabody Award, and I mean, she really is such a creative and socially minded pioneer. So yeah, she's the best.
Steven Universe obviously is the thing that's on all of our minds. Whatever.
Are you Carmen Sandiego? I'm so sorry to interrupt.
No, absolutely.
Oh.
I absolutely am. I was like,
oh, you are?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were saying no, and I was like,
no, I am absolutely.
We have been looking all over for you.
yeah. I'm like, world, I found Carmen Sandiego. She's right over there. You want to know where in the world she is, everyone? There in the world.
There.
Okay, sorry.
No, it's
sorry to
fine.
interrupt.
That literally just made my entire life. I'm going to be like.
Well, that's sad. I hope you have better experiences after this.
I live a very sheltered existence. No one can find me for a reason. I'm always inside. But no, we like Steven Universe obviously is a big deal. Not just for the fans, but for you guys as well. And I remember yesterday listening to you guys at the panel talk about the parallels between your characters, and how Rebecca I remember Zach saying Rebecca kind of takes our lives as well into consideration when she's making these roles. And I was wondering if there were any other like parallels between you and Amethyst that you think about now versus when you first started working with her, or working as her, like in her character. It's just like, wow, I am Amethyst. Like, do you have those moments?
Every day. Yeah, I don't know if she consciously takes things from our lives and puts them into the show. I think that's a great question for her. But I do know that there are so many times when I think about, the path that my life has taken, and how it does parallel that of Amethyst. For example, my birth search for my birth family in Korea, that was happening right as we were filming or recording the arc where Amethyst goes back to the kindergarten. So that was especially, emotionally close, I guess. And then I would say in terms of her, in terms of Amethyst sort of coming into her own and maybe learning that, I guess what we've seen in the show is we've seen her be able to process her feelings more and to talk about how she's feeling and kind of deal with grief or frustration or whatever it is. I think in the past that manifested itself in like underground wrestling and like and Michaela Dietz. I definitely could get road rage. I mean, not directed at people, but mainly just at like my dashboard. I have like lavender spray in my car to like calm me down. But I will say, as the show's gone on, and I don't know if this has anything to do with the show or maybe it's just a part of kind of growing up, but I've learned like, oh yeah, you can like chill out and you don't have to get mad at all the dumb drivers who never use their blinkers in LA. It's not their fault. Or maybe it is, but yeah, here comes a thought, right? Like take a moment to breathe and be a little more mindful. So I will say, sorry, I'm rambling on right now, but I think a really important part of the show is the community. I mean, look how many people are here, and I'm sure most of them have heard of Steven Universe. And I'm sure they could share some sort of personal story of how it's, impacted their lives or someone who they love. And I think the biggest thing that stands out for me between the actors and the show is that we have created our own same community. I mean, you saw us on stage. We all love each other immensely, and there's a level of comfort there. We can kind of, joke around. And yeah, so all of that is real, and we're able to kind of, or I hope at least, try to generate some of that for the on-screen chemistry.
It definitely translates. The chemistry between you guys definitely translates on screen. I saw y'all at the panel yesterday, and I was like, that's Garnet, Amethyst, and Pearl, and Steven.
Yeah.
Like, truly, so.
Yeah.
Do you find yourself dancing like Amethyst?
Oh yeah, I love to take like hip hop classes, and I love to just like sweat it out. I mean, I've like a lot of friends have been getting married over the past 500 years. Oh my, I feel like I've been to so many weddings, but I just love to dance, and then I also don't have to talk that much, and like I don't ever want to lose my voice. So, so it's good to just like sweat it out. But yes, I feel like Amethyst and I have the same passion for busting a move. Yeah.
As far as the fandom that you mentioned earlier, have you come across, or you or any of the cast come across like the like fan films or fan writing that may have taken the story or expanded on the story as is so far?
Yeah, I've seen some images online. Some of them not safe for work. Yeah, and I am aware of some fanfic. Also, from what I understand, not safe for work. What is it, you guys? What is with this? But I will say there's a young woman who I've gotten to know as the show's gone on, who loves Steven Universe, and she's a wildly talented writer, and so she's written a bunch of Steven Universe fanfic, and I've just heard like one piece of it, and she left us on a cliffhanger, and now, Bella, I cannot wait to hear the rest. So if you're listening, Bella, please finish the rest of your story. Thank you. Okay. Yeah.
Who would you say has had the biggest impact on your career?
On my career, Rebecca Sugar. I think, she put me on the map. Before this, I did Barney and Friends. That was really my first job, like my first real job out of college and my first real acting gig. And then since Steven Universe, I mean, that really put me on the map in terms of animation. So I'm on the new 101 Dalmatian Street, which is coming out on Disney later this year. And then I've been recording for some other really fun projects. So yeah, I mean, I totally credit Rebecca, and am so grateful for all of her support and like just giving me an opportunity. So, yeah.
Are there any projects that you can talk about, or is it all?
Well, 101 Dalmatian Street is gonna be really fun.
Streaming?
I think I'm not sure where it will be, but it's already aired in the UK, and I think you guys are gonna like it. Yeah. And even if you're allergic to dogs, I mean, they're through the screen. Like, you don't even have to take an Allegra. It's fine. Yeah.
What are some things you're passionate about outside of your career?
Oh, yeah. Well, I feel like, career is, it's sort of a messy term, So there's certainly voice acting is one side of it, but on-screen acting is another. I'm trying to chip away at that. Writing is another. I'm also working on a book right now about my birth search for my family in Korea. But then outside of sort of the entertainment piece of things, I like to woodwork. I love to dance. I like to hike. That's a lie. I don't like to hike, but no, this is why I say it, because I don't like to hike, but I make myself do it because I know I should like it. And once I get out there, it's beautiful, but I don't know. As I'm trudging up a mountain, I'm always I could be doing so many other things. But no, it is nice. So maybe I don't like to hike, I just hike. I have positive moments during those hikes, but yeah, and I spend time with my lover, man. We just have great meals together and laugh and hang out, and I love seeing my niece and nephews, and yeah.
So how did you get interested in woodworking?
Yeah, I don't know. I really don't. I mean, when I was really little, I remember messing around in the garage and being like, Dad, we're gonna build stuff, and then I didn't really build anything, but maybe 6 or 7 years ago, I took a woodworking class with this Japanese wood carving master or whatever. His guy named Yo. He was so cool. He was just this old Japanese dude, and it was very meditative, and it was all about don't force a form, just let the wood speak to you. So you couldn't, he'd be like, you're not gonna make a spoon unless the wood wants to be a spoon. So I just made this, I don't even know what you would call it. It was just a wood piece, but it's so smooth and beautiful, and I got really into it. So I now have Japanese carving knives and stuff. It's not as hard as it sounds. It is. It's cool. It's mad cool. Yeah. And I love to read.
In particular genres?
A lot of satire. Yeah. Yeah.
If you could choose one part in Steven besides Amethyst, who would you want to voice?
Oh, to voice? I mean, I often say Ronaldo, because I think he gets a lot of funny lines, and he's such a zany character. But, I actually... Maybe Jasper. I think there's something really appealing of being this detested character who's I don't know. I feel like Jasper is just 20 hugs shy of being accepting of herself. But maybe more than 20. But yeah, and Kimberly Brooks, who voices Jasper, really brought the role to life, and I don't know. I just think it's a really meaty role. Yeah.
What's the your what's my train of thought? Most memorable experience at a convention?
Most memorable experience at a convention would have to have been at this point probably 4 years ago. In Florida, I met a family, a mother, a father, and then their 2 kids who are adopted, and I just love adoptees, so we were bonding over that. And so CJ, who was sort of figuring out what name to go by at that point. Yeah, CJ identified as a he, and he was telling me how like sick he was, but the show really helped him when he's getting chemo treatments, etc. And so I mean that it always sticks out when any sort of form of art or anything. I mean, selfishly for me, I'm like, oh, anything that I'm associated with, like if it helps you, that's something that I'm going to remember. And so then I saw CJ and his brother again at another convention, and CJ has since passed away, but the show really is still such an important part, I think, of his family's life because CJ loved it so much. And actually they're at the convention here this weekend, but yeah, I mean, I've kept in touch with them over social media, and so it's, I mean, yeah, he's someone I will never forget, and especially his story. Yeah.
I have a last question.
Yeah.
What has been your favorite license plate that you have seen?
Oh, you checking out that Whammy Bot Insta?
I'm on there. I'm on Instagram.
Okay.
What's like the one that just made you either cringe the most, or the one that you just like love seeing?
Well, not gonna lie, I'm so tired right now. There's like a rave like in the room next door to me. People are going at it like 8 a.m. And last night I feel like sort of like a I feel like, what is it? The Working Dead. What are Sadie's? I feel like The Working Dead right now. But okay, so there are a lot that I'll see and I'll like, I don't want to die in my car, so I won't pull over or try to, take a pic. I only do it when it's safe, people. Only do it when it's safe. So there are a lot of really good ones. I saw one the other day and it was like, what actor was it? It was some actor's name, but I'm positive it was not that actor because it was just some random like charcoal gray Nissan Altima, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure it wasn't Idris Elba, but it was like something like that, and I was like, oh, that's weird, but good. And then I did see a couple weeks ago an Amethyst plate, and I was like, yes, but it was not purple.
What's the point?
I know.
So you think that Amethyst would have a purple car?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, I do. Because she would be her own car, right? Like she would shapeshift. She would shapeshift into like Greg's van, like a version of Greg's van, but then I feel like she would just like put a spoiler on the back and like give it monster wheels. I don't know, something really
Outrageous.
Yeah, outrageous, like something that just doesn't make sense, but I guess she thinks is funny. Yeah.
Hey fangirls, if you enjoyed the video and you want to see more, click that subscribe button and don't forget to ring the bell. Follow us on social media. You can reach me at Carnell Holley on Twitter, at MadDragon2000 on Instagram, and we're on iTunes. Check out our podcast called Writer's Roulette. Give it a listen, leave a review. But until then, you know where to find us.